Hello and welcome back to XGS. I am Irish, and join with me is Zero. We have some very exciting games for you. We have NDK versus BallSac Nation. Don't go off the logo, go off of the name.
Yeah, definitely an interesting team here. Not JJ&Co, it is BallSac Nation. Logo is a little bit of a rough one. But an interesting game so far of two teams that have very different ways of getting here. JJ&Co being up 1-0 after a dominant showing yesterday against SSG ACAD, where NDK had a nail-biter game, going all the way and losing 6-8 against Orgles.
Yeah, and that's the most fun part about leagues like this, about Tier 3, is you can have very established names like JJ and like the entire team that he's built around himself. A lot of them are people that he has played with before in Snake and Twist, or Snake and Twist have played together, but just a lot of relationships and a lot of people who have been up at that level as well. And then you get on the other side a team of complete unknowns. It is a lot of very established names versus a lot of people who, at least I, have not heard of at all in this tier 3 space.
Yeah, no, JJ, Ions, and Snake, obviously all names we've heard before. Ions just being in that top two of Element recently, as well as JJ and Snake, both being tier 1 players. But AMT and Satex, both unknown players, but AMT has been the star of the show for them so far, going crazy in all of their games and really being that ironclad that they've been needing to win.
He's one of those players that just kind of has been a sub for a lot of teams as well. I've seen him just on very short stints, very T3 style, just kind of hopping into one roster, hopping out of another roster. Ions as well kind of used to be that player, but more recently has found a bit of form and has looked very strong himself, leading teams all the way through AWU specifically to very important tournaments like SI Quals, not quite making the cut, but very much making a name for himself as of late.
Yeah, definitely a roster full of things. Where NDK, on the other hand, is a roster that's kind of come out of nowhere. Really kind of been showing up and really been giving chaos with CIA, Draco, and Panda being the players that we've seen most really kind of hold it down for this roster. Where Rocky Talk and Yanansum really kind of been kind of hiding behind them, but still been giving a great performance so far to really help lead them into these final 8 teams.
Yeah, and that's before we got on stream, we were kind of talking about NDK specifically and how towards the tail end of their qualifier run, they were kind of going up against teams that you and I didn't really have as much faith in. Teams like, them beating those teams to get here isn't really super impressive. So this is one of those moments, especially up against BallSac Nation, where you can make a name for yourself, where you can take a massive scalp, that being a few former tier 1 players.
Yeah, this is a roster to make your name against. Obviously, they've had a rough showing so far against these final 8 teams, really only having issues against them. Outside of these final 8, they've really been running the show. So it's interesting to see if they're going to be able to keep up with a team like BallSac Nation that really had their way yesterday, winning in a dominant fashion against SSG ACAD.
Yeah, and the one team that they beat through that qualifier run that is of note, and another thing that we were talking about before cameras started rolling, was In Control, unfortunately taking down Arc and Trevmac and Millie, who are players that we like quite a bit personally behind the scenes. I remember going to Philly and meeting Arc in person. He's a very fun person to be around, so it is unfortunate that he wasn't able to make it through the quals to be in XGS. Now, we have our map bans coming through, but a few bans to start. Consulate and Fortress being taken out of the map pool. I would have loved to have seen Fortress.
Yeah, no, would have loved to seen Fortress. Would have definitely been nice to have back-to-back Fortress games. Got a nail bite on Fortress, so it would have been nice to see it again. Unfortunately, we do not see it come through. But Lair and Chalet as two. Chalet is one of those staples you kind of always are expecting, kind of being those final few. Does not through.
And we make it all the way to border. This is going to be a a mess of a game, an absolute slugfest. Borders specifically is just a tiny little box of a map, so it very much lends itself to kind of bizarre strategies, either just hard rushing old Astralis style and just hitting the site immediately through outside facing windows, or more DZ style of just baiting, while knowing that at the last 20 seconds, even if you're nowhere near the building, you can scrap together and execute. I have no idea what to predict out of this game.
Yeah, right. If going off pure just gun skill and experience, I want to almost give it to BallSac Nation, just because I have that experience against these high rosters on maps like right going into it based on how both of these teams really like Cafe or Labs. JJ has really been showing up and really running the show, being 4-0 currently on Labs, where outside they're 1-4 going into this game through both the Swiss and the game yesterday. So it's going to be one of those showings that NDK, if they're going to find to win, this was the match they wanted to take for sure.
Now, this is definitely BallSac's to lose. NDK really has to put up a fight against this team because, like you said, player for player, it's a little lopsided currently. You have players like JJ, like Snake, who have a lot of tier 1 experience. Ions, yet again, that player that has been at the top of tier 2 recently, winning the last element, and again, making deep runs with very different teams at many different tournaments. His form currently is outstanding. So player for player, NDK really needs to show us something unique, needs to show us something new, and hopefully quite fast, because the other two games we had tonight were pretty one-sided as well.
Yeah, really hoping that we do get to see a battle of both teams really shine out. Hoping to see NDK catch some fire against one of these final 8 teams. And JJ and the rest of BallSac, can they win on a map that isn't Labs? That's really going to be the story.
See some nice flyovers. A little bit of half wall, a little bit of CCTV, just in case you didn't know what the map looked like.
Yeah, beautiful map.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting map. Not a map that you would expect to really see.
It's interesting to see JJ and Snake back down here at the tier 3 level. When he made tier 1 with that JJ and Co roster then being picked up immediately by Envy, it seemed like he was going to be that next tier 1 darling and was just going to stay at that level for quite a bit. So it's nice. It's nice to see him back down here at T3, still thugging it out in the trenches and still playing alongside a lot of players like Snake, who he's teamed with for a little bit and who had a brief stint on C9 as well. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun time.
Yeah, and it's good to see JJ back at his roots, playing with some players that we obviously haven't seen before, too, that are really trying to help get their name out, and not just relying on these, obviously, higher names like Snake and Ions, but giving some light like Satex, Ampty. It's really nice to see him kind of building up some of these lower players and letting them get their name out here and giving them a chance.
And also looking at the rosters too, they have a few names on their roster as well. Rival and Emilio listed. And the things that we were waiting for before and we might be waiting on as well was Ampty needed to get home to be able to play this game. So previously JJ was like, oh, if we need a sub, we can have Rival play. So it's nice to know that the core of that old JJ and Co roster that made it to tier 1 is still together and still friendly enough to sub in during a tier 3 league if absolutely needed. But for right now, whether it's getting a player into a lobby or some sort of technical issue, we will toss to a quick break because whatever issue this is proving more gnarly. Never mind! We're sticking around! I lied.
It is all good. Just a little bit of back end stuff. No worries at all. But we are getting lobby going, just having a little bit of issues on that. But lobby should be up and rolling here soon. But it's great to see these players back together as we are now in the ban phase, and the first bans are coming out, with NDK banning out the Deimos and BallSac banning out Solus.
Kind of interesting, like mirrored bans on either side, because these sites on this map, whether top floor or bottom floor, have a lot of soft floors. For that Deimos, especially for top floor, you can do things like just going below inside of workshop and then just wreak havoc on players upstairs. And the exact same thing with Solus on defense. So taking those both off the board makes a ton of sense because of the way that the map is designed. For Ying and Vigil, those are a little bit more interesting, obviously, because of those outside facing windows for most of the sites. See right behind Yinen's mom as well. That's one of the places that you can just toss in Yings and hard hit sites, so banning that off the board makes a ton of sense. For BallSac Nation, taking the Vigil off the board is interesting.
Yeah, it's probably a result of that Deimos ban that we saw come out early from NDK. BallSac Nation's probably like, okay, we know they're probably going to go for some more roam plays. We just want to be able to help give ourselves the advantage and not have to deal with a Vigil so that we are able to track whoever it is, maybe with a Jackal or a Dokebi, and really just allow them to have that free reign.
5 seconds remaining.
That makes sense. Very sensible. Sensible ban out of BallSac Nation.
So it looks like we're having some runouts here early, maybe just some setup, but no. Ella and Tubrow going for a quick run out early and taking off some damage from JJ. Definitely not what you want to see, as Snake's gonna get the opener.
Taking the head directly off of Lean. That pressure that was attempted out of NDK, running into spawn, trying to get some damage onto BallSac Nation, has gone horrifically. 2 kills immediately off the back, and Snake has just, gone from tier 1, dropped down to tier 3, and continues his dominance. A trade, but BallSac Nation remains firmly in the lead.
Yeah, and those are not some openers you want to lose. Obviously, losing JJ back does hurt on that Nomad, but losing out both your Tubrow and your Rooney with how strong those DMRs have been recently, as Snake goes down too, the person who's been getting you those early frags down. But yeah, losing 2 DMRs early, definitely not what you're wanting to see, as the Dokkaebi calls are running through it. It looks like they are just going for a very standard CC armory over, not really applying too much pressure on that east side, where if you are NDK, you're really just trying to regroup and be able to play off each other and hopefully get some of these kills back.
And after that explosive start, BallSac Nation has slowed down a little bit, especially with this man advantage. They didn't want to give anything away. Satex, unfortunately, stopping the run of form, stopping that slow push from BallSac Nation. Ions now at even man count, pushing forward and taking a little bit of space. Xer playing off the back of him, wants to find a kill off of the info that he has. Walking up and looking for a head, but CIA on the other side takes it for NDK and Yinens. Getting the first round for NDK on the defense. An explosive start for BallSac Nation, but an immediate answer from the defense.
Yeah, and what an answer back if you are NDK. Losing 2, really 3 early picks. Pretty much going 3 for 1. Obviously, you do kill the Nomad out, which is big. Allows you to kind of play more free-flowing, not have to worry about those air jabs. But you do lose 2 really big picks in both your Tubrow for those late denials with those Zoto canisters, and also your Rooney, which is just another DMR with how strong they are. Really, those are 2 big guns you do not want to lose.
It's a weird attack at a BallSac Nation. Just kind of looking back, they kind of just walked up, found kills, and stayed completely disconnected the entire round. Snake found the opening, found the second one just walking into Passport, and then just continued to walk around the first floor, but he got his head taken off because he was completely disconnected from the rest of his team at bottom metal. BallSac Nation never really had a concerted push, and even though they slowed down when they had the advantage, Satex still gave his life away. For BallSac Nation, obviously, you have incredible gun skill. Obviously, player for player, you are very good, but you still need to have some sort of strategy to win these rounds.
Yeah, no, and I think that's what their issue has been so far. I mean, we talked about it. They are 1-4 outside of labs on really one of those maps that they can really just kind of play free flowing and kind of do whatever they feel against these teams. This is going to be a map where they're really going to have to play together and really kind of be hand in hand and really play as a team, which we haven't really seen them do too well. But this is going to be the real showing here from BallSac Nation if they can match NDK on this, as we're getting some early engagements towards this waiting room side.
CIA and the rest of NDK behind him, playing this bottom passport area as an extension, but Xer just walks into top east and finds a scalp immediately. CIA taken off, and he knows exactly where a second one is as well. Drops down because he doesn't want to give anything away. This is where things start to get hairy for BallSac Nation. They found the opening last round. They had a really good start, but it comes from piecing it together and playing off of the advantage that they got. JJ just walking in and going for a plant. They have full control. Rocky Top does find a trade, but plant is already secured. 4v4 post plant. I love Lean just sitting on site, and this is a C4, isn't able to find anything off the back of it. They're trying to fall back towards site, but Snake is just cutting them down. Zatex as well, player for player, kill for kill, and just one left for NDK. 1 versus 4, he finds JJ as well. 2K for him in the round, but Snake shuts it down. 1 round for 1 round, and back to even footing.
Yeah, and what an info that BallSac Nation was able to get. They saw that the site was kind of really just plain, and it was kind of free. They left that entire teller site open. They didn't really put any pressure passport and waiting, really, other than that smoke. But once they killed the smoke out, they kind of just had free reign of that entire east side. Now, they were just playing too much into tellers, or not, sorry, too much into up top. But we're going to see a slight rotation come through and really just reset the pace if you are NDK and not allow another play like that out of BallSac Nation. Really keep them on their toes.
Bomb located by
That's nice from
attackers.
BallSac Nation. They utilized their aggression very well. They found the opening yet again, but instead of just staying individual, instead of just staying split up, they realized, hold on, there is a massive gap here. We can just walk in through the rotate because we've cleared out open area. We don't need to clear top floor. We don't need to clear out bathroom. Let's go for a minimal take and force them into taking gunfights against us. It's the strength of BallSac Nation. It's the thing that we were talking about going into this game. Player for player, gunfight for gunfight. If you force those fights, BallSac Nation are just going to win. The post plants like that, forcing a 4v4 and forcing an uncomfortable retake for NDK is the perfect game plan.
Yeah, especially on a map like Border where gunfights are going to be heavy. This is really the strat that BallSac is wanting to play into. As we're starting to get some early pressure over towards top east, it looks like we're going to get more of a CC, more played out game versus what we've seen before is like the rush, right? We saw the rush work really well, but it doesn't look like we are going to see that again, as they're just going to play it more methodical and play together using their experience to really help hammer it down.
Ions with an opening. Once again, out of BallSac Nation, that is 3 for 3 in these rounds of finding opening pick, and it just goes from bad to worse for NDK as JJ doubles down. A wonderful long angle, even with the shield for NDK, even with the sight hold that they have, those defenses are starting to crumble.
Yeah, and you leave your Fenrir here all alone on this A bomb site, really kind of playing on his own. Where CIA's upstairs top metal, really spread apart, and as well your Warden, stuck in armory, being held off by JJ on that long angle. Really just going to be able to pinch him out here as kills come through.
The BallSac Nation just, once again, walks into sight with that man advantage. And although it's still split up, like it's not they're all just deathballing, they all hit the gas button at the exact same time. Ions walks into that vents area at the exact same time as the rest of the attack is constricting from workshop door and from the other main door as well. BallSac Nation, in these past 2 rounds, showing a lot of coordination that they did not on the first. Maybe the first was more of just a gut check of seeing, hey, can we just run all over them, run around the map and still win the game? No, they cannot. So in these next 2 rounds, they have looked quite good playing together in these executes.
Yeah, BallSac Nation really just woken up after that first round. They lost that first round after getting all of that opening space, really bringing it down to a 2v4 and kind of just throwing the bodies away, really not playing together. And they're like, okay, if we just play together as a team, we have the better gun skill, we have the better brains. Let's just show them who the better team is and really just hammer it down that we have this experience. And it's worked beautifully, running out through a more slower, methodical play, getting some of these opening picks, kind of picking and prying around the map, and then really just flooding sight, getting all 3 like they did, and then having the rush the round before, really just hammering down that they are the best team here.
Attackers are heading out.
I've seen Buck out of Snake. I've seen him play a lot of Twitch, maybe just for the gun, maybe just for that F2. Buck makes a lot more sense. I talked about, especially with the bans, with the first 2 bans coming out, that almost the entirety of this map has soft floors, and a lot of the very strong power positions, especially on this top floor site, are completely soft. So for BallSac Nation, inserting a Buck below and being able to use that to your advantage, looks like they could just go for a rush as well.
Yeah, as we're seeing the brand new Thatcher come out, really being able to prevent these C4s, as we see it already being used. Unfortunately, does not get the second, as X's going to get that opener on Yanantum.
And Snake, instead of playing the vertical, now forced into aggression. Kill for kill, and it remains absolutely deadlocked. CIA just holding down the top stairs. I Love Lean trying to go for a kill. He's found 2 in the round, but Satex shuts him out. BallSac Nation once again with the advantage. Thatcher does not stop another Toxic Babe. It's another 15 seconds burned off the clock for BallSac Nation, and another short bit of respite for NDK to regroup, trying to find the kill through the vertical. It is not found, and it does find one onto JJ, but it's still a 2 versus 1. All quiet on the western front. Still the vertical angle, giving Panda the ability to shut down Plant. He knows that there's one below, and that last is outside. Snake is just looking for the kill, or at the very least, looking for some vertical to force him off the angle. Satex doing a great job of knowing, hey, I'm being watched.
Gives himself away with those shots there. Do they know exactly where he is? As no one is really watching any cams, really just playing off each other's mechanical, as he's going to be able to just relocate for free, as they haven't been able to hunt him down. Does look like they are going to be setting up some sort of a pinch, as they're just trying to get a little bit of info on him here.
BallSac Nation grouping up 2 on 2 instead of playing 1 below and 1 on site. They are shoulder to shoulder now, but Panda still finds the kill. 1 versus 1. He hits the deck, hops back up, and Satex closes it out for BallSac Nation. That was nail-bitingly close, but they still drag it over the line.
Yeah, and way to play that, though, out of both NDK and BallSac Nation there, right? Both teams playing that almost phenomenally, and you couldn't have asked for a closer round, especially with the way that NDK played that, especially right towards the end, out of Panda, really giving them a fight all the way to the end, where BallSac Nation played it really well, playing the team play off each other, playing the crosses, playing the vert, using the utility that they needed to really win that round. And when it came down to it, going down to just pure mechanics and skill, BallSac Nation able to show why they have these players who have this experience and have made T1. Satex, one of these players that we kind of spoke about in the pregame interview, really kind of this newer player that is kind of come out of nowhere, really been helping them and really getting them these crucial picks that they need to really close out these rounds. But NDK just going to go for the same site here again, but running a little bit of a different strat, because it looks like we might be seeing a shield rush come out of BallSac Nation.
Yeah, double shield on the board. This is interesting, especially after the more recent nerf where limb damage was reverted back to its old state. Those shields, while still strong, are not invincible. You have a lot of ability as the defenders to hit 1 or 2 pot shots and knock down the shields to the point where an impact grenade or a lesion mine or anything like that on the side of the defense can just net you a free kill. So doubling up on the shields after, oh yeah, no, you called it perfectly. It's an absolute shield rush. It's Panda finding the opening, takes down one of those. The Blitz, the more aggressive shield, not able to be used. Oh, Panda, you're so close to finding a freebie. Nothing found. Instead, the Mira directly behind him finds a kill instead. NDK with that advantage. The shield rush has gone horrifically for BallSac Nation and a regroup force, but he doesn't clear the corner. Ions goes down as well, and even though it's an immediate trade from BallSac Nation, you have lost both of your shields.
Yeah, and now it's down to both the new player in Satex, which is a young gunner from what it seems, and Xer, who was subbing in last second in the place of Amty. So really, a tough win here if you are BallSac Nation to really close this out in this 2v3. Both these players are known to be able to do it as another balls.
CIA taking down Satex, that player that you were talking up as the impact player for BallSac Nation in these late rounds, in these positions where you really need someone to drag it across the line. They no longer have him. All the tools that they brought at their disposal, both of the shields, Satex, and Snake with the LMG to be able to hold down these angles, none of that is available. Xer now just forced to try and get a few freebies. He has a minute and 10 to work with, and NDK are giving him a lot of looks. They are not playing disciplined. They are not just hunkering down and playing their advantage. Every single time that Xer walks into an angle, there is a potential freebie on the line every single time. With 50 seconds left, time is still ticking down. NDK are giving him so many, too many looks. CIA shutting it down finally. But that is a massive lack of discipline that could potentially come back to bite them later.
Yeah, and that rush not pan out, that is a great play for BallSac Nation if it plays out, right? Resetting the pace. You went 2 rounds slower after getting that real quick rush, kind of mixing it up and really just kind of trying to throw them a bunch of different looks, really trying to get in NDK's head. And NDK was not falling for it. Using some of the things that we've seen since the Siege X transfer over, using these fire extinguishers and the explosion canisters, really to be able to help kill these shields out. And we saw it there out of NDK, really trying to use it to pick off that Monty. But also, BallSac Nation really just not relying on their skills there, not using the intel that they had available, using their drones, setting up these crosses, things that we know them to do well, really just didn't do it there. And it really came back to bite them, losing the Monty off someone just standing in a random corner, not having the cross on the window, really just not playing together, just not what you wanted to see. And hopefully they can get that back to take this 4-2 half. Or NDK might just be able to slip it through and take it to a 3-3 split going into the attacking half.
Yeah, and that would be really unfortunate, because going for a double shield play like that, usually it's one of those things that you're like, oh, okay, that's a bit of an odd play. A bit of a maybe attempt to catch the defenders off guard, but that's a pretty tragic round to lose, because as BallSac Nation, you're now in the situation where if you win this next round, you get yourself the 4-2 half that on a map like Border is standard. But if you lose, that 3-3 half could be devastating when they switch onto the defense. This is an attacker-sided map. There's so much ability to just quickly hit site and play with the tempo as attack. For BallSac Nation, this is a must-win round for them.
Yeah, and it looks like they're setting up for this East Archives take, where they're not really showing too much. It looks like they have one player outside that armory wall, but that looks to be it so far. Really just not allowing too much pressure from NDK, really kind of hunkering down and kind of slowly creating this web around them, really trying to trap them down, as Ions is going to get the opener pick again for BallSac.
It's really nice that they gave him back, Sledge that is, they gave him back a machine pistol. It's very much, very nice thing to add back to his loadout. In the meantime, BallSac Nation has found yet another kill. Snake has hit the deck. He is down. So unfortunately for BallSac Nation, it's still technically an even man count, especially after Lean just takes down Xer, baiting his teammate wonderfully. So for NDK, it's a 3 versus 3 on the board, but with Snake slowly bleeding out, if BallSac Nation cannot pick him back up, which they do, now it's back to even footing. One player at 20 HP apiece. BallSac Nation, again, this is a must-win round. You only have a minute to piece together and execute. Ion's starting to do the vertical to try to find a freebie that is given up to him. It's Panda. Hearing the floorboards destroyed above him, does not move his feet and gives it up for free.
Yeah, and it looks like all of NDK has just fallen back to the site, really just trying to play the time, play off the things like the smoke canisters and these ADSs to really burn out the util and allow them to hold these sites down. As they're, from BallSac, they're just trying to make this vert, really trying to hunker down these teams. As Lean's going to take some damage, not sure where it's coming from, but they have him on both the hatch and the window. He's just going to play away from the site, really just allow his team to play it here. As
Ions thinks it's free in the backside, but instead he just opens up a hole for his demise. 2 versus 2, and yet again, the late round has fallen apart for JJ. They split up looking for clues, splitting up looking to constrict on the site one by one, but instead they give it up player after player after player. A man disadvantage clutch for NDK, putting them in the 3 versus 3, a dreaded position for BallSac Nation, now going into their defense at even footing.
yeah, this is not the position if you wanted to be if you were BallSac Nation. Banning out the Dokkaebi and NDK banning out the Mirror, really trying to reset the tempo out of both of these rosters. But for BallSac, you really wanted to have that going in. You won the 3 rounds in a row, but now the momentum has completely shifted back for NDK and really just allowing them to do whatever they want on that round.
Clash ban. I mean, it makes sense because especially a few rounds ago, we did see the double shield out of BallSac Nation. So using shields and using something as annoying as a clash is definitely in their wheelhouse. But even still, I think it is an interesting ban because it leaves a lot of other things still on the board. Ion's able to play the Goyo, putting 2 down in that Archives position if NDK go for a quick plant on the default spot. 1 shot burns away 20 seconds, or 40 seconds. Another shot burns away another 40 seconds. That is so much time delay left on the board, not banned out for NDK. If they try to walk in, find a gap on BallSac Nation, the Malusi's not banned out, so that's info given away for free. Snake also playing on the Solus that BallSac Nation banned immediately for NDK. There's so many tools that are still up for BallSac Nation because of that clash ban.
Yeah, and it looks like JJ might have been given some subs here, as it looks like he was trying to go for a run out early. But Snake being on the Solus is so impactful. I understand why NDK is wanting both these Mirror and the Clash bans. They want to play it fast. They want to be able to do what they want as soon as possible. And this is really going to be punished is if they aren't able to go the fast pace that they want, bringing out the shield on the splits as well. Or if BallSac is really going to be able to push them and cause them a bunch of time delays, which is what they need to do.
It's out of the frying pan into the fire. You ban out the Mirror and the Clash, but instead you're looking down the back of 2 Barao canisters and getting blown sky high from a Solus below and being delayed out by the Malusi canisters as well as the Goyo canisters as well. The entirety of the defense just slowing you to a crawl, and 2 picks immediately for BallSac Nation. They don't even need to play off their utility. They are just running and gunning at this point.
Yeah, and that's just that experience coming out of BallSac Nation again, really just showing that they have these skill levels that's just one above the rest of the competition, and really just kind of putting it to them. As Lean is going to get picks back, and it's just looking like it is just one of these frying pans.
Both players for NDK so incredibly low. 1 single shot from any gun, especially a DMR, will put them on the ground. NDK, even switching on to the attack, the theoretically more favored side, got shut out of the map on that round.
Yeah, and NDK wanted to try and looks like they were trying to go for something quick on that top piece, running the blitz in the Twitch and trying to get something quick, trying to take that space early, using the Nomad to really deny the flanks back and really trying to cut off that space. And it looks like BallSac Nation were just ready, and they're ready to just kind of give it back to them and kind of be just right in their face that entire round and not give them any space. We saw it there on that top piece, both on that doorway and the window. JJ with the kill early onto that blitz really just shut their entire play down and shut that tip of that spear and really just did not allow for any momentum to go back for NDK.
NDK got shut out of top east there from BallSac Nation, but that's also, bear in mind, they did not play Azami at all. It's something that they have not played in these past 2 rounds, but it's something that, yet again, because of the bans, is still very much on the board. Creating a concrete jungle in top east or in CC for BallSac Nation after the 3rd ban phase is going to be incredibly strong as well. There's so many tools still on the board for BallSac Nation that slipped through the ban phase.
Yeah, and we could still very much so see that out of BallSac Nation, as it looks like NDK want to go for something quick again, bringing out the Lion, the Blitz, and even bringing out the Ram to help get the hurt, as it looks like they know where one is early.
Yellowfin pinging onto absolutely nothing. A shot through a wall, downing the Blitz yet again. It's time after time that the shields have been shut out of the board. Rocky Top does find one, but Snake for an immediate trade. It's time after time that even outside of the map, they're still just running scared. Satex finding Lean, and Panda, you know exactly where the player is. You have a red ping. You essentially have wall hacks onto BallSac Nation, and you're still running away scared. BallSac Nation in a 4 versus 1. Damage ticked onto its Panda. Still, that was a fight that BallSac Nation could have very likely won. Now down into a 1 versus 2. That discipline that we did not see out of NDK, we most certainly will when it comes to BallSac Nation. In this man advantage, with 1 minute and 40 seconds, I doubt any looks will be given up to NDK.
No, and it looks like JJ's kind of making himself a little bit of space, allowing him to play these angles, really trying to shut down any way possible. But you look at it, they still have 2 route canisters in pocket, as well as 2 Gersmont. Really just being able to play this utility and stuff. At Twitch, only having Claymores in back pocket. So it's really not going to be in favor of the Twitch, where JJ just be able to play the time using these 2 route canisters to burn as much time possible, as well as you still have Goyo canisters on the board that haven't been popped yet. So with a minute left, it's going to be a really rough showing if Panda's going to be able to get anything going here.
Doesn't spot anything onto JJ as well. Droning right past him, does not see a single thing. Now, after that 2 brow canister, he more than likely knows that in one of these stalls lurks a former tier 1 player. Not scared at all, looking for that fight, but instead looking the wrong way. Both players taking pot shots, not finding anything, but the time ticking off the clock favors BallSac Nation. They're still in the man advantage, and they still have a lockdown on site for NDK. 20 seconds left on the board for Panda. You need to find a kill. You need to find an entryway into the round, into the site, into the game, and they do not find it at all. BallSac Nation shut down the past 2 rounds and are creeping away steadily to a convincing lead.
Yeah, and there we saw again too, with having all of that util left, using the 2 broad canisters, really more so trolling, throwing them away, kind of really giving Twitch a little bit maybe of fight back in it. But then the Elamine costing them big. Still had 2 in pocket, using 1 to just be able to stun the Twitch and really just be able to double swing and really play the util well. Playing it very disciplined off of each other, even if it might not have looked like it, they still played that as perfectly as they could have. And Twitch, unfortunately, not able to get it going. But we're going on to the 3rd site of the rotation. NDK, 3rd one right before the ban phase. This is where you want to try and get something going. And we're still not seeing the Azami, though, out of BallSac Nation. you almost have to wonder, are they trying to keep it in back pocket until this next ban phase comes through and then really be able to set up those concrete jungles like you were mentioning
5 seconds
and really
left.
just be able to just have their way with the entire map setup?
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
For Snake, he's now swapped onto the Thorn. That's something that I otherwise would say this is a very weird pick, but there's quite a few buffs that came through. The buff for the UMP, upping the damage just a little bit, as well as eliminating some of that side-to-side recoil. But one of the main differences from the previous patch to this one is a Thorn buff. And I think it was very much needed because her gadget didn't really do a whole heck of a lot, but that time, that arm time for the actual Thorn canister has been cut quite a bit. So those Razor Vines now could have a massive impact on the attack, not slowing down the entry at all for NDK. Finally, finding it down onto Xer, they could walk away with an opening, and they very much do. BallSac Nation now, a very uncommon disadvantage for them, and it only grows.
Time comes through here, and there it is again. Jay's team losing off the early pick, and then also losing onto Xer. That's two really big picks in both the Mute and the Tuber out. Just two picks back to back, losing both the C4s and as well as those Zoto canisters. Not picks you want to be losing, as NDK really just have the whole upstairs now that they don't have to worry about those C4s to really do whatever they want.
I mean, healing himself back up and on the reverse repel, doing quite a bit of damage to Snake on the defense. 2 versus 5, but Satex is just holding top metal. He's in a position here where if NDK don't know where he is, he could pick up not only just one, but retake top floor. Provide quite a bit of a headache for NDK, but they know through the wall. Satex does not care. A spray back through that soft wall takes down CIA. But he still needs to find quite a few more picks. Even with that shot, even with that kill, it's still not enough. NDK break this streak of 2 rounds that BallSac Nation had and bring it down to just 1 between these teams.
Yeah, and that was a great round. 2 out of NDK, really just kind of coming back and really just fighting it on. So we're getting these next set of bans come through, really to see what we had. As the Solus and Nomad ban comes out, we've seen Snake run that Solus consistently, really giving them some headaches. And then you also have the Nomad, really just allowing BallSac Nation to kind of play more free-flowing and not have to worry about those air jabs, allowing them to roam more, allowing them to play kind of a bit more out-of-the-box crazy and really play into the strengths of BallSac Nation and allow them to play, showing that they have the mechanical skill, having the experience, having these knowledge that NDK really doesn't have, and just be able to hammer down their weaknesses.
I mean, even with the Nomad still on the board, they were already jumping out of Vent's window, already looking for freebies outside of the map, already prepping impact grenades on jail wall to try to get a freebie. I mean, with that ban, they're just going to get even more insane. And looking towards the other side, like you said, it makes a lot of sense to ban out that Solus. Not only is she just an incredibly strong character, but we've seen her be played quite a bit on that defense. Snake wreaking havoc, being that vertical player for BallSac Nation. But also, we bring him up, he is not quite in the lobby. Still taking a little bit of time to get him back here. So we have a little bit of time to talk about the game. About what we've been seeing.
Yeah, no, really the big difference that we're seeing on this game so far is the opening kills. BallSac Nation having 7 so far, where NDK has only gotten the opening kill twice. Now, converting it is a different story, where NDK has went 2 for 2. So if NDK is getting this opening pick, they are doing really well about allowing it to snowball and really setting them up in these good positions to win these rounds. Where BallSac Nation is only 5 of 7 so far, which is still a great number, don't get it wrong. But you would be hoping that if you have 5 rounds so far that you have the advantage, that you're able to give it a little bit more pressure as the game is backloaded and we are in and going back through that site rotation again.
Taking the solos off the board for Snake, but he's still running an operator that can absolutely blow you sky high from below. This pulse is very much going to be an issue for NDK regardless. CIA making a very smart choice. This is something that actually could potentially be something that is a problem for Snake on this defensive side. If he's kind of just running around the first floor trying to scan for bodies, trying to blow somebody who's trying to get plant down sky high for NDK, if you put in and insert CIA below for Snake, it could force him away from plant denial and force him away from anything like that to make NDK able to go for an execute. Regardless, they have a lot of anti-execute utility.
Yeah, and like you were mentioning, plugging CIA below, he's really been the hero for this roster so far. Currently sitting at 8, 6, and 10. So not even really in the high kill count in the scoreboard, being still positive at 8, 6, but rocking with 10 assists, really kind of showing he is everywhere. He is left, right, center, really being a thorn in BallSac Nation's side and not allowing them to do it. As the Twitch drone is just going to get some of those early Goyo canisters and be able to clear out a lot of that util that they need to execute with.
And that's a lot of utility taken off the board by from BallSac Nation very early on. 2 of those Goyo canisters popped for free, and nothing to stop them. Now there's still 1 in that archives area. They stacked up 3 towards that default plant. Reloading. But already you are cutting Goyo's utility in half. So for NDK, not only just that, but they've made safe entry into the map. Taking top east has been very difficult for them. Just stepping foot in the map has been very difficult for them. And they've already done that and taken down a lot of post-plant utility that could give them headaches later. It's a great start of the round for NDK.
As Lean is going to get that opening pick onto Satex. That is an Aruni down, which is a DMR. As they're just taking full radio control. JJ's trying to get something back. It looks like it is going to be just a walk here for NDK, unless BallSac Nation is able to fight back.
CIA does take down Snake on that first floor. His scans very much being a problem for Snake. And not only just that, but JJ going down to the fire as well. For NDK, it's not only just getting your guns in, it's not only just getting your shield in, the utility play has been spectacular. This round could end in a flawless, not quite, Ions takes down CIA, but it is only not flawless in name. That round was spectacular for NDK, and we are back to 5 rounds apiece.
Yeah, and that's another round showing how impactful those opening kills are. We see it again, NDK getting their 3rd opening kill and their 3rd round conversion on it. Really hammering down that once they get this opener and allowing them to just snowball on JJ and the rest of BallSac Nation, it's really showing they are having these issues.
Now picking onto the Azami. It's very likely that Xer is going to be playing in a top east area. I think he's just kind of setting up barricades to slow down the first floor site, slow down the first floor take if they decide to push from opposite side over. For BallSac Nation, yet again, you have a lot of denial in your pocket. This Melusi that they've run consistently will be able to slow down NDK, especially with that shield clanking down through first floor that they more than likely are taking. But, oh, a swab right at the very end. They're taking Blitz instead. That with the Lion, it is a much quicker looking attack out of NDK.
Yeah, and we might see them take one right out of BallSac Nation's playbook and go for that East Teller's rush that we saw that works so well against them if BallSac Nation's not careful. As the opening pick is just going to fall again for NDK, and that being 3 opening picks in a row for them. Really going to see if BallSac Nation is going to be able to fight back and really be able to get a chunk back into this game.
I don't know if they had him on drone either. They just know exactly where BallSac Nation are playing. Satex taken down Snake as well, and it is another advantage. You talked about the conversion for NDK, and even before that impact blows up, he takes the head off of Ions. They are just slowly constricting BallSac Nation. JJ goes down as well, and it is another flawless start. Another 1v5 for BallSac Nation, but now NDK taking that flawless.
Yeah, and X are getting stuck in another situation like that. It's really unfortunate if you are Xer and the rest of BallSac Nation, really just coming down to these little 5v1 plays. And it looks like NDK just has their book read. It's just an interesting way. That's 3 rounds in a row now for NDK where they have found that man advantage early and really just been punishing BallSac at every case scenario. But we are going back to this Armory bomb site for a 3rd time since this 3rd ban in the 2nd phase, and really see if BallSac Nation is going to be able to convert one of these and maybe get a round win and push us to that overtime game, which this game has already turned out to be different than the ones we've had previously today.
Snake swapping up his role slightly. Instead of playing something from below, instead of playing the C4, it looks like it's going to be more Satex's responsibility instead. He is the only C4 on the side of BallSac Nation, and with his cams as well, giving BallSac Nation info, he's more than likely going to be one of, if not the only player playing below to deny plant. So for Snake, he kind of got shut down the last round by that IQ pick out of CIA and has completely swapped his position, playing instead that Azami that we were talking about, just delaying time on top east and on CCTV as well.
Yeah, we're finally seeing the Azami come out. Now, last round of the game, but it is still the first we are seeing of it this half. And it's really interesting to see is how are they going to utilize it. We've been seeing Snake on that lower play like we have been talking about previously. And really, are we just going to see a quick east side take out of NDK as they're setting up all of their util on this side?
And with the mute ban, he's become a lot less prevalent in the way that a lot of these teams have played, so that allows on the attack you to play a lot more Flores. Even with BallSac Nation bringing things like the castle barriers to try to delay out time, and like the Azami and like the Azami Kibas as well, just a few of those Flores, especially with no mute on the other side, and suddenly all those walls you've created for yourself, all of that time denial blown up in your face.
Yeah, as we're seeing some of these Goyo canisters come out, and it looks like that they're gonna take Snake off the board yet again as that opening kill, which is not what you're wanting out of BallSac Nation. Running this setup, running the Azami to help set up and delay more time, losing that Azami this early is definitely gonna hurt as the round progresses.
Looking down the barrel of match point, it's yet again started very poor. And you talked about the man advantage and the opening pick conversion for NDK. It has been spectacular. JJ takes down Yeeman, bring it back down into a 4 versus 4. This is what BallSac Nation need. Just a little bit more delay, a few more pieces of utility. There's still the C4 in the pocket of Satex. He has dropped below to that first floor, so with the 50 seconds left for NDK, they still have to take site, and they still have to go for an execute, but that late round could prove treacherous. CIA looking to clear out that player below, not quite knowing where Satex is playing, but he just finds a wallbang through the hatch onto Xer? There's a known position playing somewhere close to Canadian, but good lord, that was a fantastic wallbang. Ions finds a trade back, and in this 24 seconds also drops, also falls back just a little bit, but he finds another. CIA, you may know where Xer's playing, but you have no idea about Ions. Rocky Top, regardless, was able to stick the plant. BallSac Nation having no denial until the very last second. C4 goes out. Ions running out for a triple kill. BallSac Nation out of nowhere. This is when you need it. This is the pivotal moment. One more round. You have the man advantage, but in this moment, sticking plant. All Satex needs to do is just deny. Panda's found one. Plant stuck. Plant not. Ions hops off, just delaying time. Sound bait on either side. Ions not faking this time, but he hops off a quad kill for him and saves his team at the last second. 1/2 a second to go, and BallSac Nation drag it to overtime.
And what a round out of Ions there. Really just every opportunity. NDK gets a pick. They get around. And Ions just grabbing it back piece after piece after piece, getting these crucial picks that they needed and shutting down this opening kill spree out of NDK and really shutting down that plant. What a clutch out of Ions. And that's what you needed. That's the experience. That's the mechanics. That is that experience that we are talking about out of these players like Ions and JJ and Snake, really showing through and showing that it doesn't matter how many are left. Ions is still going to be able to find a way to get you back in these rounds.
Looking towards the other side of things, we were talking very early on in this game about the individual skill of BallSac Nation and how player for player they really stack up quite nicely against NDK. But especially in this attacking half, CIA has gone from 0 to hero. He looks spectacular. He was just running around on the first floor finding freebies through hatches. I don't know what the heck he was doing. Now he finally got taken down by Ions, who had a spectacular round of his own. But oh my god, this guy's just running around collecting wallbangs out of nowhere.
Yeah, and we're seeing a completely different setup too out of BallSac Nation, where we're seeing a very similar one from NDK. Right, they're bringing the Capitao, they're bringing the Lion, Blitz, the IQ, and the Flores. Where BallSac Nation have kind of switched it up. They said, okay, the Goyo was nice. Ions, you had a phenomenal play. Let's throw you on Echo now that he's got that new buff. Now that he has 3 cams that he can use at his disposal, which is the new buff that just came through recently, really giving him some extra strength to really stop these post-plants scenarios, which NDK has been loving to do, as we're seeing it now with these Echo cams, kind of hiding them around the map, really kind of feeding the info to his team and allowing BallSac Nation to really kind of get an idea of what NDK is trying to do.
Yeah, the C4 smoke and Thorn Razor Blooms were not enough to stall plant, were not enough to stop plant for NDK. So BallSac Nation decide to stack up yet another piece of plant denial. Yeah, with that buff, it was like the Maestro buff getting another evil eye. Oh my god! He's shooting a drone and just immediately flicks up to Yinet's head. That was a gorgeous flick. Another opening found for BallSac Nation. Like you said, they have not been flawless in these conversions. It's a great start, but they still need to keep up that pressure because NDK on this attack have started to heat up.
Yeah, and that's what kill you desperately need if you are BallSac Nation. Not only do you kill the line, you get rid of some nades, but you're also stopping this spree that NDK's had, where NDK has had the last 4 opening kills before that round. As JJ's going to get picked right back, CIA, the hero for them, as Xer gets 2. It's all falling apart for NDK.
I Love Lean, the last player alive, does have the time and does have the space to bring Panda back up to his feet. But for BallSac Nation, all you really need to do is just hold NDK at bay, and there's so many pieces of utility for them to use. They haven't even really used those echo cams at all. 40 seconds for NDK to find quite a few kills back into the match. And yes, you may have found a down onto Snake and Satex, but it's still a 1 versus 2, and Xer is still kicking. Another for him in this round, and a timeout for NDK quite late in the match.
Yeah, and what a round, as NDK is gonna finally call their time out. That is what you needed to see. If you are BallSac Nation, is really trying to shift that momentum back in your favor, which we've seen in these past 2 rounds, really going from, oh, what a clutch by Ions, really giving it and giving them life back in this roster after losing that momentum completely, to really just dominating NDK at every single access point, which we saw it right there as well. Just absolutely well done from BallSac there, giving them their 5th opening kill into a round, still doing very well if you are them.
And for NDK, even if they end up losing this next round, even if they end up losing this game, taking a team like BallSac Nation to overtime is really, really good. You as a team are a bunch of unproven players at this tier 3 level, so going up against JJ and Snake and taking them to overtime, I mean, BallSac Nation is definitely one of, if not the strongest teams, besides maybe Orglis x Alex. So taking this team with this much skill this far speaks volumes of you as a team.
Yeah, and we saw it yesterday in that NDK versus Karn game. Really just a game where they clawed it back. They were down heavy, and Karn got it close, and it really just was one of those firefights. But then NDK lost all their steam going into that overtime. You just have to think, is that playing in the back of their mind today? Is this going to be another game in back-to-back days where you got all the way to overtime, you got all the way to where you had the match point, and just let it slip through your fingers again? You have to think that's going to be playing on the back of their mind as this last attacking round from BallSac Nation comes through.
A lot of op picks that we did not see out of BallSac Nation on their defense. A Warden, which I don't think we saw at all from them. Even with the Ying ban on the side of BallSac Nation, they aren't able to bring the one thing that you typically see as a Warden countering. Even without BallSac Nation doing that, they still want to bring it to see through smokes. But regardless, NDK with that opening onto Snake.
And it looks like it's going to be one of those top east plays where they're just going to go for the top east archive. Very standard kind of play. They're getting the line calls out, figuring out where the Goyo is, trying to figure out what they can really pick and prod around the map and try and take space and get the advantage that they need. Losing Snake early is not great. That's both your sledge, but it's also someone who's been very influential for you on these rounds. And it's also the frag grenades you're losing too, helping you clear out some of these util, like the Goyo canisters. He's really going to come down late if you are not able to execute it properly.
Still 3 frags in pocket for BallSac Nation to use. A long angle taken by Ions, but it doesn't find anything for it. A C4 goes out, but yet again, just traded pieces of utility and nothing to show from either team. Ions walking in. He wants to find an opening. He wants to find a freebie, but instead he's chasing ghosts. Meanwhile, one more of his teammates goes down, and an impact through the floor yet again distracting BallSac Nation, giving them one more angle to look at, one more spot on the map to clear as the time ticks down to less than a minute.
Yeah, it's a 5v3 for NDK, so you really want to hammer down that you have these advantages. You have the opening kills, you have this. As there's going to be a quick trade out there between Ions and Panda. And JJ's going for this site now.
Ions and JJ going for broke in the 1 versus 4. This is not a must-win round because they have one more left. Match series point. One more round. Winner takes it all between BallSac Nation and NDK. And it's one more round on attack for NDK.
Yeah, and like you were saying, that wasn't too necessary of a round if you are BallSac Nation, right? You're already guaranteed the overtime point. That round is more so, maybe you wanted to say, oh, let's get our attacking round out of the way. We didn't do so great on those. Let's go back to our defense where we hammered it down and really just try and close it out on a stronger side that we like. We're seeing the Azami come out again. Now that it slipped through that ban phase, like we were mentioning, we really weren't seeing that Azami. But now we're starting to see in these past few rounds out of BallSac Nation, and it's been working in their favor, allowing them to hold these strong power spots and not allow NDK to get the map control and space that they've been wanting and were able to use so effectively early on.
These are on the Oryx. Possibly expecting some shields out of NDK, but either way, it's a bit of an odd pick. Because even with shields, I mean, especially with the limb damage change, you could go with something like a Legion, the exact same gun, and not only just delay the shields, but stop players from walking in and finding gaps. You can just bring a DMR and do a whole heck of a lot of damage by just shooting feet.
Defuse a bomb.
I don't see a ton of reasons to pick an Oryx on defense.
Yeah. And maybe it's something they're just wanting the comfortability. They've seen that NDK have been really doing these heavier run clears. Obviously, like you mentioned, they're bringing the shield. But they're doing a lot of clearing around the map. And this probably is going to be an Xer a chance to be able to really be a thorn in their side at one angle, kind of give them a distraction, and then be able to locate really quickly and just be able to give them more pressure on a different angle and cause them just some headaches and just really be in their head constantly of where he might be at.
It's not the pressure from the defense that we should be worried about right now, though. NDK's stacking up lots of players on this west balcony. A Monty looking down on Ions, and another player as well stacking up. A C4 does quite a bit of damage to Rocky Top, but no kill found on either side. Ions looking for the pick, looking for the fight. He doubles up with his teammate, going 2 for 2. Both of these teams are just shoulder to shoulder looking for space, and nothing to be found for either. Ions holding his ground. BallSac Nation holding down Armory, and this is 3 players upstairs. So instead, NDK regroup. They realize, hold on, there's 3 players upstairs, 3 players fighting and denying our entry on top floor. Let's see what we can do opening up jail wall. Meanwhile, CIA has found that opening onto Snake, has found that pressure on top floor as NDKs start to pressure jail and first floor as well.
Yeah, and it looks like it's still trying to give this pressure up top as they've kind of given away from it, as Ions is going to take some shots in the back from that break door and really just give them as much time as possible to really go for this execute on that jail wall.
2 kills from BallSac Nation very quickly. JJ finds one onto CIA, and Xer to find yet another. 1 minute and it quiets down yet again. BallSac Nation in this advantage. Don't give anything up. Don't give away freebies. And
It
so
looks like
they
they're
drop off.
Yeah, they're doing it really effectively. You killed both away the Rams, so that's the vert game gone as well from NDK. Really only going to be able to rely on the DMR from Panda. But you've also killed Nansom, right? That is your thermite. That is your smoke grenades. That is stuff that you need for this post plant. That now, BallSac Nation is really just going to be able to hammer it down. As well as when you do lose that Ram, you're also losing CIA. That is the carry. That is the person who's been giving you K.
CIA goes down. JJ, double kill for him, but Rocky Top just walks in. They have complete control of site. The stack up in a man disadvantage towards jail wall, and they find plant? BallSac Nation, you have control of vert. You have angles on that space, and you still don't deny it at all. A post plant now secured for NDK. You have a Monty, you have a DMR and a post plant, and BallSac Nation in a very uncomfortable spot. They're still looking for pressure over towards jail. They're still expecting somebody to be playing over there. But what? No. Now they finally know. Hand out towards this window. Xer, you know where the player is. But 15 seconds left. You have to force him into a swing. You have to force a fight. And even though you do, you will lose it. NDK with a maximum overtime win against BallSac Nation.
What a game we had seen there. And it looked like JJ and had the play. He had the angle. He had the hold down. And he wasn't able to win it out for his team. And it really cost them there. They weren't able to hold up on that vert. And they were not able to hold and prevent the post plant. That we had everything that we mentioned to prevent it. You had the Oryx to kill the Monty, which we did see them do in the post plant. But it wasn't enough to be able to close them out earlier. Which just really, if you are NDK, that is what you wanted to see out of your team and really be able to clutch that out.
That was a fantastic showing from NDK. going into this map, we were talking about like, hey, these are a bunch of newcomers, a bunch of players that we have not seen in XGS before. So we weren't really expecting a whole heck of a lot, but an upset victory looks fantastic for them. You got a little bit of a sneak peek at our next matchup down to that graphic below. We have a short break before we show you our next match. Stay tuned.
Rite of Passage is back and it is better than ever. Starting February 16th this year, you'll get to enter to try and get your chance to make XGS. With just a $50 entry fee, you get direct invite to our round robin stage where it is best of threes for every game, making sure every single chance, every game, every round has the most meaning possible. The best teams in the round robin group stage will make it on to our single elimination playoffs, where they can fight for not only a chance for the lion's share of a $1,000 plus grand prize, but also a chance, a direct invite to the next season of XGS. Signups close February 13th, just 3 days before the event actually starts, so make sure you gather your teammates, friends, and sign up, because this is your chance to make a name in the scene. Are you ready? Find out here.